August the 28th, 2019. As you're looking at the 8:30 p.m. update, and this is showing the different spaghetti models of Hurricane Dorian. Now, the Navy model has dropped a little further south, back down near Lake Okeechobee, and really that's the worst case scenario because you're going to have impacts on the East Coast. It's going to cross Florida. Remember Andrew, and then get back into the very warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, you got different models that carry it north. Some come into the Georgia, South Carolina line, but from anywhere from this area down around Miami now is what this is showing. But remember, that's the center, say the Navy model that's at the very bottom, guys. That is the center of a storm that's as wide now as the state of Florida is long, and it's just going to continue to strengthen. You've got 1, 2, 3 models that cross Florida in one point or the other and enter into the Gulf of Mexico. And if we look at our different models, we'll look at the Navy model and a couple of others that actually show the movement, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it matches this. And again, at the last update, 80-mile-per-hour sustained winds, 990 millibars is dropping. And the thing about this, guys, it's showing a pretty clear eye. We will look at the different satellite and radar images. But tomorrow night, 2 hours after midnight, you got a Cat 2, Cat 3 Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. now, 115 mile per hour sustained winds. And it's going to slow down to just a Cat 2 as it comes across Florida, entering into the Gulf. And I had a friend of mine call, talked to two of my friends down here today, as a matter of fact, Kelly and Bill. And they have boats and boating interests, and they're real concerned because the water down in the Florida area, in the Gulf of Mexico itself, guys, is very, very warm. And so that it's the worst case scenario now. As you can tell, Dorian skated kind of between the islands, more or less. Roatan and all that in the Virgin Islands are very small. It did almost no damage to slowing the storm down. Again, the northeast quadrant is loaded. See that? As in all hurricanes. And look how clearly defined this eye is. Guys, I would not doubt it would be a Cat 2 before daylight. We'll just have to watch because it's been strengthening very rapidly. Now it's cleared the major hurdles of the islands. Here we're looking at the European model. It goes south like the Navy model. You can see it come in, guys. We'll slow it down. But notice your timestamp at the top. September 5th, it's coming ashore right in the Perdido area. You can see where Mobile Bay is in Alabama. Just south of there is Pensacola, Perdido Bay, right straight through it, guys. And so we don't know how much it will strengthen. They're not indicating that yet after it crosses the peninsula of Florida. But September 5th, 8 a.m., the center of this storm is just off the coastline. At this point, all the evacuations have been ordered, guys. Start getting your boats ready, like I talked about earlier in the live video. Don't wait till it's too late. Some of the marinas will already be using up their boat jacks and their racks and all to get the boats out of the water. And as I said before, as we look at the Navy model, almost the same path, just a little different, not much. And it's ashore by September 5th, and it is what's showing you that they predict it moving a little faster. You also have a storm coming off of Africa at that point. So the models are kind of putting it right where a lot of us hoped it wouldn't go. Best scenario would have been to go up the East Coast and cut out without doing much damage, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But here's the good point, guys. The Gulf needs oxidation, and the hurricanes are the Earth's mechanism to release heat. It's been a very hot summer, and as you look at the eye in this particular last image tonight, again, 80-mile-per-hour sustained winds, much higher than that. If you counted the gust, it would be a Cat 3 gust. So you can think about roofs and things like that. Even at a Cat 1, guys, you're gonna have trouble there. But this thing is going to strengthen much more. And here's area moving up the east coast. It looks like it's going to hang offshore, guys. You're going to look up there unless there's some major changes. Also, there's a system setting off the African coast in almost the same place that Dorian formed. We have storms coming off Africa at the same time. We look at infrared. In the last image, you can see there's a glitch in the radar or in the feed. So there's a skip. But in the last one where that storm stops, you can see that it's growing fast. Look at that. And becoming more energetic. Check that out. And the eye's not clear here simply because this is infrared radar, but you could see in the actual images that it was powerful. Now, in the islands that it crossed today, guys, there's videos on AccuWeather of buses going down the highways underwater, flooded. Now, I know it's mountainous there, but it's telling you how much moisture is involved in the storm. Major flooding in these areas. Some roofs were ripped off. There were service stations. I saw one video where it ripped the top off of that, one of those awnings. But again, a couple of different places where roads were underwater, a bridge was underwater. Go to AccuWeather if you want to check that out, guys, and see what it was like there this afternoon. But guys, we'll be watching it, the 10 p.m. updates and things like that. You watch it through the night and the early morning. We'll see what the storm is doing. Watch for Cat 2 strengthening very rapidly. It's a heads up. Be safe.